To turn to the markets, you know we must cover them because we've got explosive stories all day long, and the Dow is one of them, plunging more than 600 points yesterday, erasing gains, wait for it, for the entire year. And the markets are open. They're back up. Here you are. We're just 6 minutes into the trading day, and the market is up 141. That's enough to give you a stomach ache. Joining me now, my dear friend, Risk Reversal Advisors Principal and CNBC contributor Dan Nathan. Dr. Nathan, what is going on?
Well, listen, that's not a great bounce after yesterday's decline by any means. I think investors were looking at corporate earnings last night. We had some good ones. Microsoft had a beat and raise. Visa, talking about consumer spending, beat and a raise. Both of those stocks are trading up, but that really results in the 130 points in the Dow Jones Industrial Averages gain today after a massive decline. So the volatility that we've seen has really been in the last month, and it really has to do with concerns about global growth. Okay, it has concerns about rising interest rates. We hear the president talk about that all the time. And then I think there's got to be some uncertainty about the midterms. And I think that, you go back in time at the midterms, we see this sort of price action before, elections, ones that are very divisive. And so at the end of the day, you said we're flat on the year. That's what the result of these gains have been. At one point, the Dow was up 10%. Now it's up just a very little bit. That's much better than the rest of the world. European stocks are down 10%. Asian stocks are down at least 10%. The Chinese Shanghai Composite's down 20%. So if you think about what's going on here, we've just given back some of these early gains. It's no time to panic, I think, with the market unchanged, with all this uncertainty, and we're likely to get more clarity over the next 2 weeks.
But why should midterms uncertainty affect the markets in such a way? It's not like, oh, if you go Republican, the market will go up. If you actually look historically, when a Democratic president is in office, we have a better jobs picture. We have a stronger economy. Not to say that deregulation isn't good for business, but the idea that, if Republicans don't hold this, what will the market do? That's nonsense. Not all Democrats are anti-free markets. That's absurd.
It's totally true. The stock market traded great under 8 years of Obama. When you think about it. So I think the issue there has to do with the fact that a lot of the market gains since the election came because of deregulation, because of the promise of tax cuts for corporations. So when you think about that, there's a lot of there's a lot that needs to be pulled forward here. Why does he think the president is already talking about a middle class tax cut? Wasn't the tax cut last year supposed to be for the working class? Wasn't it supposed to be middle class?
Well, no, also claiming they're going to do it now while Congress isn't even in session, which makes absolutely no sense. I want to share with you something that stuck out. Jim Cramer, obviously, CNBC's Mad Money, your friend and mine. He said this 2 nights ago about the Trump administration. Take a listen.
The two men with the most influence over the stock market in the world, the president and the Fed chief, are engaged in a totally destructive tug of war where both sides are wrong. That's right. President Trump and Fed Chairman Jerome Powell have staked out opposite sides of the economy, and the real loser is you.
Do you agree with that? I mean, Jay Powell is raising interest rates, which is what we thought he would do. If Jay Powell is listening to the president who says the economy is stronger than ever, actually, if he's listening to new economics enthusiast Laura Lee Trump, who now likes to talk about the economy on Fox News, then you would see interest rates rise. And you also would want interest rates to rise to create a cushion if we head into a recession.
That's the exact point. I mean, I think Jim is correct. I mean, when Jim is speaking, he's speaking for the everyday investor out there, and I think he's correct in that regard. But I don't think Jay Powell is wrong. Jay Powell is probably not listening to a lot of this barrage from the president. He's being scapegoated, right? Because he's basically tying what's going on, not in the economy, tying what's going on in the market to what Jay Powell is doing. And it's really important for your viewers to understand the markets
and the economy are not the same thing. Less than 50% of the U.S. population even owns a stock. When the president gets up there and touts it, is he forgetting that those forgotten Americans, his base, don't own many stocks?
Right. Well, the real issue is this, right? He keeps touting wage growth. Wage growth adjusted for inflation is actually not rising. So when you think about that, you think about what's going on in the economy right now, you think about this talk about lowering taxes for the middle class. Those are all things that may need to be done, but not as Larry Kudlow says the economic boom is never going to end. You know what I mean?
Like that 12 days ago.
Yeah.
12 days ago he said that.
So I guess the point is like, let's leave something in the tank. They're raising rates, like you just said, so they can get to a point. The Fed funds rate is at 2.25%. You know where it was when the stock market and the economy topped out in 08? It was 5.25%. You know where it was in 2000 when the economy and the stock market topped out? 6.25%. Both times in 2000 they went down to 1%, and in 2008 they went down to 0. okay? And so now we're just coming off of this period of accommodative monetary policy that's been unprecedented. We have this epic rise since the financial crisis. So to me, they got to leave it alone in the tank.
That's not negative bias. That's nothing anti-administration. That's Dan Nathan covering the markets, giving you facts about the economy. And again, as always, Sarah Sanders likes to talk about the economy, Ivanka Trump likes to talk about the economy, and now Laura Trump likes to talk about the economy. I invite you to join me any day here on MSNBC at 9 a.m.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.